I'm sick. No, not physically. Though I did get the flu for the first time recently, but in another sense. I'm sick and tired of AI slop railroad content. I hate AI slop as a whole, but I'm making this point today specifically about the AI slop I've seen that generates content relating to railroads and trains. I've done a search to see if anyone covered this specific topic in regards to AI, and there seemingly isn't any. So I've decided I'll have to be the one to go on a massive tirade as I'm frankly fed up. Um, in recent years, the rise of AI has unleashed a deluge of lazily made, poor quality videos that present information which is either a repeat of something everyone already knows, misleading, or just downright wrong. One such example that's come across my feed a lot, and I'd wager is the one most of you are familiar with, is the channel Great Train Speed, with a very similar entity being named On the Trains. Even from the names of these channels, it should already raise a red flag to you as something seemingly generated by a machine. I'll be real here, I'd actually probably trust a channel named something outlandish like the CSX Railfan 6769 Productions before I trust one of these blatantly soulless husks of content farms. Because at least I know that 12-year-old iPad foamer wearing a high vis while trespassing a main line is actually real and trying his best. Let's delve a little bit into this. If you go to their channel and click on videos, this is what you'll see. Mountains and mountains of videos, nearly 350 at the time of writing this, with one being published pretty much every day with little interruption in this schedule. This sort of workflow would be insane for any channel, especially one focused on trains. The next thing that might jump out to you is the naming conventions many of their videos follow. While it's deviated more as time has gone on, you can find videos following patterns like blank is coming, blank just made a huge announcement, or blank is finally here. Let's take these examples. It's happening. New York train expansion is finally coming. Amtrak and Virginia government just made a huge announcement. It's happening. USA new light rails are coming. Game over. Pennsylvania Gov just officially made a huge SEPTA announcement. Brightline is making a huge Florida transit expansion. Big news! Amtrak and Pennsylvania Gov just made a huge announcement. Unexpected. Seattle train extension is making a huge announcement. Chicago's 7.8 plan to fix the CTA. And yes, it just says 7.8, not 7.8 million or 7.8 billion or 7.8 Butterburgers without mayo. California high-speed rail just got a big announcement. It's happening. LA's Purple Line, $9.5 billion new train is coming. California's Caltrain just made a huge announcement. LA's $2.4 billion train expansion is coming. Australian Gov just made huge Sydney high-speed train announcement. The US Gov just made another California high-speed rail announcement. That is a sampling of 14 videos uploaded in order between August 22nd and September 4th of 2025. That is exactly one video a day over that time frame. 12 of these 14 videos follow the naming conventions I explained to you. That is 85%. Looking into these videos, it just gets worse. The first thing you'll hear is an obvious AI-generated voice reading a meaningless, non-nuanced, poorly written, clearly AI-generated script. Looking at the description, it seems they also do that thing channels sometimes do, where they put some or all of their script in the description, hoping that the words contained in it will allow it to infect more recommended algorithms so they can spread their slop disease like a respiratory infection at an anti-masker coughing convention. The background footage, too, is just stock footage or stolen footage, shamelessly regurgitated onto the screen. Oftentimes, there's basically nothing to glean from any part of these videos because it's either well-known news, something they've already covered in 5 other videos, or just entirely speculative. They'll make content dealing in something like massive Amtrak expansions in certain states just because there's been interest expressed in making these things happen without any actual progress on these projects or for plans that are 10 to 15 years in the future. But they'll present these statements as if they're fact and that they're happening now. What seems to be happening, in my opinion, is that their Dr. Seuss thingamabobber machine that farts out all the content goes around scraping any sort of articles it can find, which themselves might also be AI slop, and then, in air quotes, summarizes them into their own content, which draws no original conclusions or makes any important points or arguments. It sure seems to me like that would be the only viable way that they could produce content like this on a daily basis. For anything to be made like that, it would have to be minimal effort, or in the case of AI slop, like Great Train Speed, no effort whatsoever. I'd wager that our little iPad foamer from earlier puts more effort into one catch of a standard stack train led by 2 YN3 GEVOs with nothing interesting or out of the ordinary than these channels collectively put into about 50 videos. This is, frankly, all nothing content with nothing to prove and nothing to say. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that this channel is run by real people who actually care about trains and transit. If so, it would at best be a mountain of slop that real people are making because they have misguided intentions and don't want to put in the real effort to make videos or discuss these topics. But honestly, I don't think that's what's happening here. I'd bet $20 that this channel and others like it are run by machines just as much as the content they produce. It's just meant to capture views, to draw you in, to sensationalize the most minor of comments from a transit agency. If it was humans, I couldn't tell you why anyone would do it this way. There is nothing to gain from these endeavors unless your singular goal in life is to watch a viewer count rise like a stock price. It's all just lazy, boring, and disrespecting the hobby that many of us put real hours and passion into, regardless of the quality of what is produced by us. At least we're actually making it ourselves. There's no real big takeaway here other than that we can do better than this. We don't need to let this sort of shameless slop take over our spaces and ruin anything interesting and real about trains and rail fanning. We don't need to give these channels reviews and feed their all-consuming machine. I'm sick of AI being inserted into everything under the sun just because it's new and convenient. I've been fighting against AI for the last 3 years and seeing just how much it's become an unavoidable part of life as desperately as I want to just never have to even see it. All because shareholders of massive greedy corporations decide that I need to be forced to use their new AI features in order to justify the billions they spent implementing it because they needed to introduce something new to drive up perceived values in stocks. I disable and avoid all of this whenever I can, but it's getting to a point where in many cases there's just no option to do so, despite the Mount Everest's worth of moral objections I have towards AI use. Instead of just allowing all this to happen, we should support content by real creators, reconnect with the real value to be found in this hobby, and reject AI at every possible opportunity. Little iPad foamer Timmy, go watch his video where he catches a foreign power unit leading a mixed rate. Hear him shout with joy and euphoria and wildly overreact to what to others is a neat, relatively often occurrence, but is to him supposedly the best day of his life. That kid is living in the moment. He's real. We've all been there too. We were just as real as him. And there is nothing that can ever replace reality. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has just been a bit of a rant that I wanted to make because this channel and this type of content just kept coming across my feed. And I thought I just had to put something out there about it because it's infuriating. If you did enjoy, like, comment, subscribe. If you're gonna come into my comments defending AI, don't. I will, I don't know, delete your comment or something. I'm not here. I'm not about that. We're not gonna be defending slop today. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little rambling session I've taken you on. Um, and I do hope the rest of you have you all have a great rest of your year, and have a good day. Thank you.